Okay. I think it should be up. Yep, let's get the stream preview going. Cool. Okay. And let's. Oh, hello. Alrighty. So, let's get some music going on here. If I can. Ah, there we go. Apparently this one was on here. This one should be over here. And this one should really be on 4, I suppose. Nothing should be on 5. There we go. We'll start the music over. Okay. Nice. Alrighty. So, last time we left off was our first stream. First part of building our fancy health app here. Although it's not fancy yet, but we'll get there. And I have some good news when we get to it. So just give me a second. Gotta start the emulators. Okay. Okay, I think you can now see. Sweet. Okay, so couple things since last time. One, I got my key bindings all set up. 2, I figured out what was up with those commas. Apparently, I have been working in the same Flutter project for so long that on Flutter 3.7, they updated it so that whole trailing comma thing doesn't work anymore. I was able to downgrade and make it so it does work. People are apparently very unhappy about that, as am I, according to all the Stack Overflow posts. And no wonder, because it's a terrible decision, because Flutter code looks really awful when it's all on one line, way too long. So, I guess without further ado, we're gonna get started. I updated the analysis options file, so you're gonna see a couple extra errors pop up as we return to our code here. Mostly just telling me to like make things const and stuff like this, which shouldn't be const, but that's okay. For right now, we can pretend it's supposed to be. This should also probably not be const. And you see, my commas are working. But we can fix all of this later. All right, I suppose we'll get started. How's the, yeah, comma. How's the stream volume? Music too loud, not too loud? Sounds good, sounds bad, sounds rad. Smidge loud? How's that? Small adjustment. Now a smidge low. Okay. Here, let me do it this way. It's gonna get a little louder, but then I can make it quieter here. How's this? Good? Alright. Let me know if it sucks again all of a sudden. Alright. Let's run our code. And we'll get started. Sure. Oh. It still built it. Fix this issue by using the highest NDK version. Okay, that's fine. Oh, cats were getting violent. Always sad. Oh, this has changed since the last time I looked at it. Now these are Kotlin files. They were not Kotlin files before. I have clearly not created a Flutter app in a long time. Well, like a new one. I work in one every single day, basically, but I've been working on that same project for about, I don't know how long it's been now, like way too long. Almost 3 years. I don't even remember where to configure the NDK. Does it tell me? Yeah. Oh, there it is. NDK version. Flutter NDK version. So should be in here, but it's not. So maybe it's no. Where are you getting this then? Should I just ignore this? Where is it grabbing this namespace stuff anyway? Nope. Nope. I would have thought it was here. And it probably still is. It's what I remember it being. Well, we just had it. See what happens. Let's get the full name. And we'll set it to this, since that's what it wants. And we'll rebuild the project, see what happens. Well, there we go. No. This song seems to just be louder. Is it still okay? I had to lower my own volume. Oh, okay. Also, I just, did NDK wrong, so that'll do it. What if we do a Flutter clean and try again? Sometimes that just, gets it going. Nope. All right. Well, it's kind of just a warning, so we can just move on for now, and I'll take a look at it later. We should also get a configuration going. Just because sometimes it gets angry. Debug. Profile. And release, which will probably barely ever run. There we go. Okay, I think we can get started now. Sweet. Okay, so last time we made these handy dandy little meal slots, and that was about it. We now have to actually like populate them. I figured we'll do some like demo stuff first, although we may want to get the dates going. Maybe we'll just get the dates going first because that'll get rid of the const issue that we were having over here if we just handle that a little bit nicely. So that should be easy enough. So in the nutrition controller, we have a selected date. Super simple. We'll just copy that with the day. I'll actually rip this out one just to make it smaller. Select the date, day, -1, and then we will set it right back. And we'll call set state. Okay, theoretically that should work. Nope. Oh, this is why. Because we're not actually calling the right date. There we go. Yep, now it's working. And then we'll do the same thing for the forward arrow, but instead it is of course +1. So really this should rebuild after every like time the date changes. I don't know if, given that everything is kind of static, it might be better to do it this way. That way it just knows to rebuild and then it doesn't flag it as const. Because if we do it as const, well, we could actually just check if it'll rebuild, right? So, super simple. We could just do, just add some quick text that reads out the current time. And we'll toString that. Okay, and if we go forward, that now works, but let's test it without the key and set it all to const. Will it still update? Nope, that's why we have the key. All right. Sounds good. All right, moving on. So I suppose every meal slot should probably now have a meal that kind of goes with it, right? The strange thing being, right, I think we talked about it last time, you can have a meal that is made of different foods, or you could just add a food directly, right? So we have to be able to display both. Is it worth it just sort of finding any loose food and then assuming that's just a meal on its own, right? That way it makes it a little bit easier to, you know, it's all the same class when it comes time to displaying the list. Or maybe we actually sort of make what would you call it, a binding on top of it that sort of wraps it, a wrapper, duh, that's what you call them. That might be a bit smarter. It would at least give us a little bit more control, so I think that's how we're gonna play it. So a meal slot can have a list of meals, a list of foods, and we'll define the meal, which could also have a list of foods, and then we'll define the food. We'll import everything. Okay. And now it's really about creating a wrapper around all this stuff. How should we do it? Well, we could do it sort of. Well, if we don't even want to wrap it, we could just decide, like, meals just go on top and then all like the stray foods go underneath. That'd be fine. But maybe it's better to sort it by time added. Time added is a little bit more intuitive in terms of you probably want the most recent thing you added to the meal slot at the very bottom. Be my assumption. So maybe we will go with that wrapper idea. So my microphone is mounted on my webcam, like on top of my monitor, so it never gets too close to my mouth. But we could do this. How is this? It made me quieter in general, but maybe the popping is a little bit less obnoxious. Thoughts when you catch up? Okay. Well, let me know if it's still a problem. At best, I could just buy a new microphone, right? Okay. How's this? Levels. Okay. Do you need to have like your volume at like the tiniest little bit, or are you able to have it at a reasonable volume, like in the player? Okay. Before, did you have to have it really low? I think you told me you did. Okay. Well, nobody's ever going to join our stream if it absolutely destroys their ears, right? So hopefully this is a bit better, at least according to the OBS levels. It's not peeking into the yellow, so we'll call it there. Let me know if I have to like adjust it further, of course. So we need to wrap the meal stuff, right? That's what we were doing? Yes. So we were gonna order it. Oh, you know what we really gotta do? This isn't even gonna work right because meals will get saved independently, and then there'll be a binding that equates a meal to a meal slot, because a meal slot is dependent on date, and we would have to keep duplicating meals, so you'd never really be able to save them. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. So you have a meal slot, which consists of a meal. Stop autocompleting. Consists of a meal, which consists of food, and you could also have just outside food, but there has to be something that binds all of these. So we'll kind of need like a meal slot link. But that's more of a meal link, and then there'll be a food link. Well, slot food link, slot meal link. So it goes meal slot to meal. Meal slot, meal link, meal slot food link. Gets a little complicated. Because on top of that, a meal is going to need a food link. Meal food link, which then goes to the food. So our meal slots are date dependent. So we could either go that way, or I suppose there's an alternative structure. Well, let's just make this a little bit, yeah. There's an alternative structure where we don't need these. We don't need these. And then it's a meal date, meal slot date. That's slightly cleaner in the sense that we have, you know, two less classes we have to worry about. Yeah, the bottom one is looking a little bit nicer at the end of the day, isn't it? So then, really the index date will get pulled out into that meal slot date. But that's a terrible name though. ChatGPT, you want to come up with a better one? Can you come up with a better class name that links meal slots to dates? Okay. I figured that it just took what was up here and tried that. Let's try that again. Meal slot schedule. It's not really a schedule per se. Any opinions? MB? They're good at naming things. Like Arlo. Both sound mid. Alright, well we can always change it, right? We'll go with date link at least just because it took days thinking. If we go with date link, how about just schedule meal slot? Sure, whatever. Let's move on. We could always change the name later. But I think this is the way that we gotta play it. It would at least help going forward. So we can rip these out. And then we'll need the meal slot ID. Yeah, alright. Well, we could keep this index. Nah. We'll do it this way. Puts a lot of burden on the meal slot ID though. Well, food IDs, and that's how we'll bind them all. Yeah, that works. Alright, well, we gotta fix our controller since this doesn't make any more sense anymore. Oh boy. So all of these really just need to be scheduled meal slots. And then we'll need the meal slot. That gets a name. There we go. Designing the schemas always are a lot of fun. You end up ripping things out over and over and over until you finally either get sick of it or come up with something you actually like. I'm making this a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but whatever. It is what it is. So we should probably make a copy method here. Yeah, all right. So this needs a create. Oh, and we'll need a user ID. Everything's gonna need a user ID. Okay. Meal slot, meal slot, meal slot. We need to rename all of these because this doesn't make any sense anymore. Schedule meal slots. Schedule meal slot. Schedule meal slots. Schedule meal slot. Getting a bit wordy, but I like to be descriptive in my names. today. And now we just make that copy method. And we need a new, do we set the, we should, how about this? There we go. That should work now. Slot does not have an ID. Because normally I have that auto-generated. So let's just make the typical, let's just call it table for right now. We'll replace this with Driftweaver when we get the chance, but for right now this is fine. Int ID, that's always 0, and we're gonna need like a date created, date time now, to etc, and date time, date modified. And that should be enough just to wrap everything in. Extend table. We'll call it basic table, just so it doesn't override everything. Excuse me, my throat's a little dry. Okay. And save for this. Okay. Hopefully we don't have to play with these too much, because this is it's quite the, they're very, they're very long class names. And we're probably going to come up with a better one later, so it's going to suck when we have to rename it again. But that's the game. Alright. So now this should all just work again. Perfect. This isn't updating now. Why? Because these are not the same type, and you would have thought it would have notified me about that, but I guess not. There we go. Hard to get good help these days. And this should still work, and this should still work. And we'll also just make it so that if you long press on the top up here, it goes to today. This is kind of correct. There we go. There. Oops, wrong button. We'll call this today and make it pretty. All right. We should probably eventually make a little animation that change. Ooh, where'd everything go? What? The hell happened? Where's my editor? Hello? VS Code? You just decided to die? All right. That's really weird. Or it thinks it's open already. I don't know where the hell that would have gone, so we'll just kill it in the background. Wherever it is. VS Code. Kill. All right. That didn't make any sense, but whatever. Anyway, knowing that weirdness, I have no idea why that happened. Just disappeared. I don't even know what monitor that went to. Maybe that's a weird hyperlink bug. Couldn't tell you. Alrighty. So let's actually start making some meals, huh? Let's get back to our meal slots. And let's close all these other windows. It's getting a bit busy up there. Meal slot box. We'll do another scroll view. And we'll take part of that thing's suggestion. We'll also put a size limit on it. I don't think we want it taking up like every possible inch of space that it can, since we'll just want it to scroll at a certain point. So we'll do like, you can take up a third of the screen at most. So actually this needs to be a constrained box with box constraints with a minimum, with a max height. And, oops, sizing. Now, since there's nothing in here, nothing happens. Cool. Now that scrolls. All right. Well, I guess we need our meals, huh? So we were gonna wrap them in a display thingy that would help organize everything. Although, really, we don't really need to do that. What would be the best way? And it will either have a meal or a food. But it definitely needs one of these. Sure. And we'll even just do like we'll extract out the date modify here. Yeah, that'll do. And now we could actually start wrapping everything up. So we'll need our meal display. And we'll need a list of those. And our meal slot meals will need to be mapped into this. Meal. Return meal display. Okay. Unsure if this is the actual route we will fully take at the end of the day, but this will get us moving, which is all that matters. Foods, food. Making me hungry. I didn't eat today, so I was gonna be hungry anyway. And A dot date modified compared to B date modified. We want the most recent one off top, so that should do it. And we'll do like a whole thing like this, and we're gonna get rid of these list tiles because I hate them. And we'll do like a little placeholder here. And we're missing parentheses. There we go. And right now we don't have any meals, like anything actually in these. So let's just go over here, and when these get created, for demo purposes, you know, it will even make a little controller that handles demo stuff. Put it in utils. Oh, no, we won't, but we'll keep that anyway. Debug.dart. Oh, my key bindings are so good now that they're back. So happy I got that figured out. So, just do this. This will be const and static because this will pretty much never change. And if demo mode, oh, interesting. So apparently the mothball package actually has debug utils already built in, which is stupid, and I'll probably rip that out because you can't actually set to it because it's, you know, a static const. So quick little side adventure. Here we go. Way too small. No way you guys can read that. And we're just gonna rip these out. Hopefully nothing depends on them, but they might. Where is it? There it is. Does anything depend on this? This does, this does, these do, these do. All right. We may need to turn this into moth debug controller, and these will no longer be const, which is sad, but that's okay. Now we can actually set them, and we don't need to simulate any load delays pretty much ever, but I like it in there. So if we go back to this debug over here, we can mostly delete it, I think. Since this can't be const anymore, we can just get rid of this part and rip that into a variable here. And then set that to this. There we go. And get rid of all of this. Get rid of this. Moth debug controller, which doesn't exist at the moment. But forget. Moth debug controller demo. And we're going to want to set that to true all the way up here. If we're not in debug mode. Okay. And so we'll just make sure that this runs. Sure it will, but nope. Why not? Should. And not release. I mean, all of this is true. It's not in release mode. Yeah, both are false. Anyway, I overwrote it, so. Oh, true. My bad. There we go. Okay. And now we can just add like some foods in here. Not entirely correct. So a meal, when this is created, we'll have a name, also a user ID, and food IDs. You can honestly just leave that as blank. And so now we only need to do meals, foods. Whoops, late. User ID, name, and that's good enough for now. Hello. Good up, Copilot. I guess I will do it myself then. Required step name. Okay, now theoretically, if we reload, all of these should be populated once we actually display them. And just to be simple, we'll do something like this. Well, let's actually, we'll be correct. Display type, meal food. What extension adds the colors? Good question. I think it is, I don't know anymore. Let me find out for you. Indent rainbow. Yep, indent rainbow. It's pretty good. You can customize all the colors, change them from solid bars or just nice little highlights. There's even a little config that you could do. Let me show you mine real quick. I don't know if I actually ever edited it. Yeah, so I changed some of the colors myself. That's it. Yeah, it's really nice. I guess we don't need the assertion if we're going to have an exception. It's a little bit redundant, but we'll keep it just for now. Yeah, no problem. Type. Add our cases. And for right now, we'll just do something really simple as displaying, well, we'll grab the meal first, of course. And we'll just name it. And we'll do the same thing over here for food. They're not going to be the same name, right? They're going to be the same name. Alrighty. How about meal slot food? Meal food. There we go. Nice. Good enough for me. So, of course, you know, all of these foods are gonna get calorie counts, protein, carb, and fat breakdown. Those are, you know, the big four that anyone really cares about. So, if you need any more information, we'll leave that for when you actually click in. So, this is kind of the weird part where how do you actually store your food information? You know, you could just decide, you know, it's going to be calories, it's going to be protein, it's going to be carbs, and add them as distinct fields. But then you kind of get limited, right? 'Cause, well, what happens if you want to actually break down fat into, you know, like trans fat, and then you really want it to all add up. And then, you know, do you want to have a type for every single, you know, thing that it could possibly have in it? Vitamin K, vitamin D, you know, it'll go on forever. So maybe just a map is better, at least in the moment. Because something like that. Same thing for serving size. Oh, you know, we'll just leave it at that since it already just autofilled everything for me. We'll keep it there. And then it will be kind of up to the meal to add up all the foods and grab it. This will at least keep it so that, you know, you can conceivably add a food, you know, a custom food, and you only know the calories, right? You shouldn't be penalized for not knowing, you know, the fat content, the protein content, or whatever. Or if you're weird and you only know the vitamin K content, maybe that's something you care about. You know, if I guess pregnant people do. Otherwise, most people get enough vitamin K normally. Fun fact. I guess this will do well enough. And then it will just be a matter of probably looking through all of the foods and then creating sort of a fancy map out of all of this. So nutrition, we'll want to like actually build it, right? So we'll start off with just a basic map, and we should loop through every single food and just add everything. This should theoretically populate our map. We could even test that, right? Well, let's make, in the demo stuff, let's actually populate just a couple of these values so we can see them adding. Yeah, that's Looks good enough to me. Thanks, ChatGPT. So helpful. So theoretically, if I now rebuild everything, oh my god, you're right, the music did die. Oh, video pause, continue watching. I didn't have it full screen. There we go. And we're gonna need to actually grab the nutrition. Right now we don't have anything. Where is our widget? Where's our widget? Here it is. Put it in a nice little row. And I figure we'll just do a spacer. And for right now, we'll just stack the big three on top of each other. And that might be adding. Is it? No, maybe. Yes, no. Doesn't look like it is. This is still running though, right? Yep. Or am I crazy and it actually definitely is? Did I only do that for food? Nope, this is on meal. So that should be working. What did I do wrong? Nutrition. It shouldn't matter. Well, let's just go in. See what I did wrong. Oh, it's just overriding it. You still don't hear the music? I can hear it. Might have just been a quiet song. Super quiet? Okay. I raised it up one level. There it is. All right. Good. All right. So this is actually wrong. We're gonna want to add everything here. Nutrition entry. Food.nutrition.entries. So then we can do it like this. No, we don't want to do it that way. Just do if it contains it. That might be the best thing to do. Yeah, ChatGPT knows. Am I allowed to just do this? No. All right. Now it should work. Yeah, there we go. Now it's all adding up. All right. The only thing is this is not carbs, it's carbohydrates. There you go. We could probably just shorten this to carbs, that way I can type less. Yeah. That might be the way. Oh, we're actually getting some people in here. Weird. Okay. And then, all right, now we got carbs going. Also, sorry for the music whiplash going from Halo to Sims. Alrighty. So this will do well enough here. So what we can do is, instead of just displaying these directly, we can wrap these in a map that automatically pulls all this stuff out. And the cool thing about that is then we could just ignore anything that doesn't have a value. So if something does happen to be null, we can just hide, you know. That way it doesn't say like fat null or carbs null, since that's confusing for a user. And actually, we should start No, this is fine for now. Okay. And I think there's like a null, non-nulls. Is that only for lists? It might only be for lists. Yeah, it's only for lists. All right. We really want it for a null. Then instead of manually doing this, oh, right, we only wanted the big three. So we'll remap it to just calories, carbs, protein, fat. We'll capitalize it, make it nice. There, I think that should do it. Technically, this will no longer ever be what do you call it? Null. So I'm messing all this up. I'm lost. There we go. Why don't I get the two lists? Oh, dot entries. There we go. Nutrition entry. And it never wants to do that anymore. Maybe because it's in an error line. I don't really see a need to make these different ones, actually. And toString as fixed. And I think that should do it. Nice. Now we'll just want to make sure it's all the way at the end. All right. Looking pretty ugly, but it's working. Maybe just to give us a little bit more space, we'll just get rid of this just so that we can see everything on the screen for now. So maybe actually it would be nicer if calories is a little bit bigger on top of everything else, and then carbs, protein, and fat just kind of slot in next to each other. And we could even shorten it to CPF. Should be, I think, pretty obvious what it is. Most people, I think, would be able to get. But that might have its own problems, so maybe we shouldn't. Well, either way, this can now be a row. This can now be a column. This won't be this at all. Calories. And then meal nutrition. Calories. Oops. We should store this. We don't want that being generated over and over. Although let's do it this way. Let's call this like big 3 nutrition. That way we know. And we can name this back to nutrition. There. Looks ugly, but works enough. Okay, that at least keeps it to like one line. And let's replace this. We're gonna change this to a list view dot separated so that we could actually start getting some dividers in here. It's getting too messy. So our meal display dot length, which should really be plural, displays. And then we could just straight up drag this in here. Ooh, out of my way. Right, doesn't that work? Am I crazy? Oh, that's why. It actually takes build context and an index. My bad. Index, and the build context actually goes first. Cool. Now we just need our fancy little dividers, which we don't need any of these. So we'll just leave them alone, and divider. Oh, has size is messed up now. Why? Is this? Does this help? Oh, okay. And now we have dividers. Is this the right color? What color is it picking? I don't think I actually set a divider color in my theme, so let's do that. Divider color. App theme divider. There, now that should just handle it for us. Yeah, those look the same to me, though they're very gray. It's a little bit, doesn't go with our wintergreen aesthetic. Oh, this is not even where I defined it. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it's in there. Anyone have any thoughts? Should it be more green, or you like it sort of this pale, really pale looking one? Kind of blends in with the text a little bit. My thoughts. More green. More green it is. Do you mute? More green. All right, it's unanimous. Oh, that's, I did it on the wrong thing. Here it is. This looks about okay. It's a little bit close to this value, but I don't mind it. Doesn't look much greener. Am I crazy? Did I not, let's just make sure I'm not doing something wrong real quick. Let's make it red. Ah. Why don't you want to pick the right color? I put it in the theme, no? Did I miss it? Divider color. That should override the divider color. All right. I guess we'll be setting it manually. It's weird. I thought it would do that if it's in the theme data. I haven't had that problem before. I think I do that in my other apps. But easy enough to just add the color scheme in. See, ChatGPT knows what to call it. App color scheme. Okay, I thought so. It's not autocomplete nicely. Oh, it's because it's const. All right, let's remove that red. How's that? Maybe we'll even make the top ones even a darker green. That way, it's even clearer. Yeah, where do I have the... Guess I have it in here. Expansion panel, I think I defined the divider color, yep. So we'll do like a primary divider and then a secondary divider. I think that should be how we'll go about it. So we'll call this, do you think it should get more green as it goes, as it nests, or less green? Because then this would probably be, well, either way, this is going to be primary, so. You guys seem to like green though, so. Oops, too far. Fortunately, every time we add something to this, kind of becomes a pain. So I have to redo all of this. Be nice if it would auto-generate it. Maybe that's another project one day. Automatic color scheme generation for just stuff like this. It's just annoying. I'm just gonna keep this open on another window. I don't have to keep opening it up. Primary divider. And we'll do a Flutter pub get to grab my other package. Primary divider. Do secondary. Primary divider. Primary. And this one's secondary. And we'll need a actual secondary here. And we're obviously gonna get an error. And we'll go with the gets more green. Didn't get more green. Did I not click OK? Oh, it's because I edited the wrong one. Yeah, RMF, that's probably a good idea. I'm just a little bit more particular because we can do, that would be probably what I would do for, so the reason why I don't is because you see you have these over here. I have button widgets that if they detect an exception on the tap callback, it'll automatically change the color to like an error or a warning for you. So that's why I kind of went with this broken out approach. But yeah, just doing the color swatch is a pretty good starting ground. We'll see that later when we actually start testing all the buttons, but that won't be for a while. We're just trying to get things to display. Oh, why is this not staying? There we go. Yeah, tell me about it. I have another project that I've been working on for like 3 years at this point. It's way longer, and I don't even use like half of them anymore just because I've condensed things and whatnot. But that's the game. All right, so that's more green. Yeah, I guess we'll just get greener and greener as we go down, huh? Oh yeah, like we have, this isn't built out right now, but I have something very similar for like input decoration. So right now we don't have anything quite set up yet, but when we get to text fields, you know, I like it when you click on them, it makes it glow as like an active, you know, border thing, and then when you click away from it, it goes back to sort of a neutral color, things like that. Things like border radius stuff. We'll get all to that later, but for right now, I suppose we'll just leave it. We're not ready for all that stuff. When we get to working on this add button, that'll be pretty much the big thing. Where was I? It would be nice if I could even do like you know, just say like nest and then say like what nest index it is, and it would automatically make it darker and darker and darker. That would kind of be cool. We could try it. It would sort of be like a color util. So it would really be an extension on colors extension. I have something similar in here. Where is it? Oh, apparently not. But there's a way that you can extend. I'm forgetting. I've done it before. Like on a bunch of different stuff. I shouldn't have closed that earlier anyway. I have something like down here. This is all my datetime stuff. Yeah, extension on datetime. There it is. Extension. Color extensions on color. We'll just import it from material, and then we'll do color get, well, not get, how about just nest? And then we'll do a nest index. And then, yeah, that kind of does what I was looking for. Although, I think just changing the luminance might. How about we just try this? Oh, you guys probably can't see. I'm on a different. It's probably blocked by the emulator. Index. And we'll say like something like this. This may look terrible, but so if we go back to the primary divider and then we nest it and then we say it's one down, gets way too dark. Okay, that's not what I wanted then. Well, let's try this since although we really wanted it to get greener. So how would that work? I guess we would really multiply every value. This dot A is just going to stay the same. This dot R. Why is it yelling at me? Oh. Why is it yelling at me though? And well, I guess we'll multiply it by 255. Is that the top? Into it. I think that'll do it. Same for R. Same for G. Same for B. And then we'll do a flat like index times 0.1. Why does that go back to a double? Is it if I reverse this? There's an order of operations that usually I don't have to deal with this. Nope. Looks like it's just as what it is. So in that case, you can pull that out and then do the int at the end. And how terrible does that one look? Oh, A needs to actually just stay the same. And this is why we don't play with colors. We end up sitting here way too long. this should probably be 1 minus. Okay. Say like, all right, so it's not getting brighter because it actually has to add. And if this doesn't work in the next like minute, I'm abandoning it. Wow, okay, that's not, I mean, it makes sense, but it's not what I expected. I should have. I'll have to look into like changing it by hue. Something like that. Anyway, that was a failure. Just go with our handy secondary divider. I mean, how many times are we really going to nest anything anyway? If we're nesting anything like beyond 3, we should just probably build another UI. Well, that'll do that. So let's... Right. Let's make this smaller. I made it way bigger. Whoops. 0.8, that's what I meant. And we should probably make this text bigger. Yeah, that looks alright. I wish this divider would stay. It's one of the reasons I don't like the default Flutter expansion panel list. We may make our own at a point later, because this is... Like, why would you get rid of the divider? Now it makes it look like it's blended. Yeah. Oh, really? It drives me insane. I wish you could just define like the gap color, but you just can't. Well, actually, how stupid would it be if we wrap this in a material and call the color behind it? Would that work? Oh, that does. All right. That works well enough for me. But yeah, that really always bothered me. Cool. Glad that was actually really easy to fix. Oh, except for this. They rounded it? Is that what that is? It's rounded? Why? Why would they do that? Yeah, really. Man, there's gotta... Most of the default like material widgets are really good for having, you know, a lot of customization, and then you just find like the one that you really want to use but doesn't. Yeah, so that really irks me. All right, we're gonna end up making our own custom expansion panel lists, guaranteed now. So let's at least get food looking a little similar to this. Realistically, this could almost be ripped out into its own widget, and then we just pass in the name. So we just say that it's the meal name, and then here we would say it's the food name, and then we'd get every row nicely. At least that would work to start. Ultimately though, this will become another header where it will drop down into more sub foods. So that's well, the row at least will probably stay. It'll just end up putting a suffix button at the end for the drop down, right? So we could actually extract this out and just call it like food display for right now. Food widget, food widget, food display. Whatever. So we don't want a meal. I also like this above. Press for preference. So it's not the meal, it's the name. And we could actually just bring out calories. So this is now just calories. Oh, and we never did toString as fixed for this. It's a double, toString as fixed. Is there ever a time where someone wouldn't put their calories in? I guess if they're just tracking other stuff, like maybe they're only tracking sodium, maybe they wouldn't bother. Calories doesn't equal null. We could just do that quickly. Return to it. Okay. Name. Calories. Yeah, have a good night. Thanks for joining. And that big 3 nutrition that we were gonna do. That name, and then we're going to do calories. Lowercase calories. Okay, and now we can actually grab that there. Food.name and food.nutrition calories. And I guess we still do need to grab the big 3. But at that point, we could just generate it this way. Now we don't need it at all. Wait a second. That's not right. Oh, no, yes it is. I forgot, I was confused by why this was not nullable, but I think it makes sense now. Get rid of this. Now we don't need calories. You just throw in the nutrition, and it will display it nice. We will have to rip out the calories, though. That's easy enough, at least. Calories. Nutrition, calories. Okay. Nutrition. Meal.nutrition. And food.nutrition. Okay. Not too bad. Now, of course, the meal slot itself has to add up everything. And that will take care of most of today. I think that'll be the final thing we touch. Since I'm getting hungry myself, since that guy went and got dinner. Or gal. Who knows? Oh, this doesn't need to be. This is that friend. Maybe. They followed me though, so that's nice. Forgot to thank them for that. I didn't see it in my activity feed. It had a pop-up over it. Whoops. Well, maybe they'll be back one day. Here we were. I just wanted to make this bigger now that I was noticing that it was a bit small. Nice. That can just be one line. Cool. Let's add that elevation back in. Good. That might have been kind of good looking, actually. Nope, didn't do what I thought it was. Yep, we're definitely going to make a custom expansion panel because this sucks. Don't like these at all. Oh, and we should put some padding because it's a little squished. That was that. Good enough. Let's make it slightly more in. We'll just keep going more in, and more in. That way it's a little bit more obvious, at least until we make our own expansion panels that will deal with that. I can't believe that was rounded up there. Oh, I thought it was so clever for putting that material back there. Anyway, we were gonna add up all the nutrition for the meal slot, I think. So, was that what we were gonna do? According to ChatGPT, that's what we were gonna do. So, fair enough. For meal and meals, yep, and also for foods, we'll need the same deal. Food. And now theoretically, this should give us the nutrition for the whole meal slot. I need to name my files a little bit better because I'm starting to lose everything with everything being called meal slot one way or another. Where do I have it here? Right here, right? Yeah, let's actually bring the add button over here. No, that's not nice either. Well, let's just grab all this stuff and see how it looks, right? There we go. And we'll just see how it looks with everything thrown in. And then go from there. Yep, really terrible. That's all right. Calories looks huge. What'd I do? Oh, left that there. Does look to be adding up correctly though, so at least we coded that one correct. And we might even make this another expanded. Nope. How about this? And then main axis, space between. We'll get rid of this. Oops, but we'll actually want to keep the width here. And then we'll add padding on the left side. Okay. It'd be cool if there was like a universal symbol for like carbs, protein, or fat. Just like calories, people like do the flame icon since like calories is really a unit of heat. Do they have anything like that? Symbol for protein? Is there anything like that? Just P? Oh, this is interesting. Let's look at this. So we could do something like this. Fat is a little bit vague. Protein's pretty obvious. Carbs, we could do that. I don't mind that as the leaf. But the fat is a little bit like a drop of fat. It's kind of strange. It almost makes it more look like we're talking about water. I mean, I get that it's supposed to be oil, but I don't know. I feel a little bit confused at first. So maybe there's a better one for fat. Oh, no, that's just fat people. Not what I was looking for. Yeah, not quite. Those are like lipids. Maybe we could do lipid, simple for lipid. I don't think anyone's going to understand that that's what it is, that this is a lipid when they see it in the app. That might be like for the biochem nerds. Yeah, too sciencey, yeah. Maybe maybe Google has one already. This should honestly be up in here anyway. So Google Fonts. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Google Fonts. There. Fat. Body fat? I mean, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. Like where they like pinch your side and then like take the pizza. It does look like pizza. I think it's where they like pinch your side. Do they have anything for like carbs? Carb? No. Protein? Egg. Yeah, I'm leaning towards these. I guess the water drop with the sheen on it makes it oily looking, maybe? I don't know. Maybe ChatGPT can come up with one. Can you make an SVG for an SVG icon representing fat for a nutrition app? It just did the oil. It's not terrible. Yeah, like it's in the color, isn't it? Yeah, evoking oil. Okay. Let's make it black and make it grayscale. That way we can do the color manually. Can I save this as an SVG? Looks like it. So in here, I guess we'll just make a new folder. And it won't. Oh, there it is. New folder. Icons. And we'll call this fat. On search. Fat. There. It's like huge. Like way too big. Can we make it 24 by 24? There we go. That was too big. Oops. Okay. Why did it get bigger? Do I have GIMP? I set my password. There we go. GIMP. Okay. Close. Open. Already knew what we wanted. Well, I guess I wanted 24 by 24. That's really tiny. I thought Google gave it in like a 24 by 24 just by default. Right? Yeah. Why is this? Oh, did it rasterize it? Is that what it did? I want you to open it as an SVG. Import paths. Yeah. You're an SVG, sir. No. Well, this isn't doing what I wanted it to. I guess Inkscape is better for this. Is that in the Arch repo? Inkscape, Inkscape, Escape. There we go. I already have it. Inkscape. Oh, look at that. Dark. Yeah, thank you. Projects, health app, icons. Much better. There we go. And I think there's like a fancy little height thing that we can use. Transform. I just worry that this is going to be giant when I import it, so. Oh, that was move scale. We want it by pixels. Was it secretly 24 by 24 anyway? All right, how do I export this? I always forget. Export as an SVG. Export. Yep. No. Okay. So theoretically, if I just open this back up, yeah, much better. Now it's tiny. There we go. And let's just well, I'll install all of the like vector graphics stuff at the maybe off stream because I gotta grab some things from another project to actually, because the vector graphics stuff, Flutter vector graphics, Flutter SVG, that was what it was, can do a cool thing where it will compile it for you to svg.vec, which is more of a binary format, which is faster to parse. Although I've had some like bad experiences with this where it won't handle cutouts in the middle of the SVG properly, and it will still fill them in. Then just bringing it in as a regular SVG was fine. All right. So the big problem is I usually handle my SVGs directly in here, but obviously that's not going to work if it's in this package. So I may need to remake this and bring it out of mothball, which kind of sucks because I liked having everything in here and usable everywhere. I suppose I could still get away with just giving it like a map of SVGs that I can draw from. You know this? Something I'm gonna think about off stream, since this is a little bit too in the weeds of UI, and we did what we were supposed to do in terms of getting all the headers to work. Alrighty. Well, I guess that's it for today. I am gonna do what that other guy did and get some food. It's been 2 hours. Hope everyone has a good night. See ya. Oh, we gotta raid someone, don't we? And we gotta give it this stuff. Second stream. My mod always likes me to raid. My amazing, gorgeous wife. So let's find someone else doing some coding. They're doing Elixir stuff. Not too familiar with Elixir. That guy's in Russian. More Cyrillic. Anyone doing anything interesting? Debugging an AI agent. Seems like a lot of hitting play and doing nothing. How about this guy? Implementing writing Hoverbike. Yeah, let's rate this guy. All right, see you guys later.
Give me
There you go.
the editor stuff.
Okay, that's it for our stream. See you.
But if you want to be an investor,